This week's podcast is sponsored by Mama Shango's Necromancy Oil. Bring your muscles back from the dead with Mama Shango's Necromancy Oil. Now on to the podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall, and it's for the PCW Tag Team Championship! Coming down the aisle, your PCW Tag Team Champions, the men of 2,000 holds, Natal and Steve!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 31 of Podcast Championship Wrestling, hosted by the Podcast Tag Team Champions of the World, the men of 2,000 holds, Natal and Steve. How you doing today, Steve?
I'm doing good. I thought I was doing good, but my day just got even better. Ted DiBiase Jr. is on the screen behind you.
And it's not because he has a Raw debut or re-debut. It's WrestleMania 26, right?
Yeah, just why not? I figured it's some random WrestleMania where it's WrestleMania season. So now they're going to be on in the background while we do these.
And if you want to contribute to which WrestleMania we should be watching while recording this podcast, then email me at sosaysnatal@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at sosaysnatal1. I have a Facebook, facebook.com/sosaysnatal. Keep that strong. That's where all the podcasts, So Says Natal and Podcast Championship Wrestling. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at instagram.com/sosaysnatal. And don't forget, you can find the Podcast Championship Wrestling podcast, So Says Natal podcast, and the Fight Your Rival podcast on Stitcher, SoundCloud, and iTunes. And when you're on iTunes, give it 5 stars. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you guys for the ones who've taken their time to do it. It is greatly appreciated. Now with all those shameless plugs out of the way, let's get right into Fastlane. Usually we do things prior, NXT, SmackDown. We're putting that to the side.
Yeah, I gotta go right into the pay-per-view.
We have to. There's a lot going on. Like you said earlier in the podcast, this is the road to WrestleMania, and what a road we're on right now. So let's start off with the pre-show match, which was the U.S. title up for grabs in a 2 out of 3 falls with the U.S. champion Kalisto defending his title against Alberto Del Rio. We've never seen this match before.
Yeah, never. I was so excited for this match that, to be honest, I missed like the first half of the match. I was finishing up an episode of Doctor Who with a friend, and I stand by my choice.
That.
Yeah.
I can't blame you.
But when I saw the match, I think I caught like the last 7 minutes or so. I thought it was pretty fun. Nothing that was just that I hadn't seen before between them, but it was exciting. That double stomp from Del Rio kind of annoys me because the guy taking it just looks real stupid. There was a spot, I think it was Kalisto was on the barricade outside.
Yeah, and he double stomped him.
Yeah, by the timekeepers, and he just had to stay there for a bit because Del Rio plays to the crowd too much, and the poor guy who has to take it just has to look like an idiot holding himself there. But it was the outcome I wanted. Kalisto won, and it was cool. It was 2 out of 3 falls, so now there's no way Kalisto could say it's a fluke, because that was, the way it was being built as, even though Del Rio gave away one of those falls, which I thought was cool storytelling. I like the idea of, I'll give up a fall just to hurt you so I can get the second fall, and you're easy pickings for the last fall as well. Didn't work out that way, but, Kalisto won, and good for him.
I think it was the best match they had out of all the 6,000 matches they had in the last 2 months. And I think it's because Mauro Ranallo was doing the commentary for it, and he just made it sound like a big deal match, because it should be a big deal match. It's for the title, and it was good. The finish was weird. I guess Kalisto was supposed to go with a Salito del Sol, but he messed up, so then they recovered really well. They did a good recovery from the botch, nonetheless. But yeah, it was an entertaining match. I enjoyed it. I thought it was done very well. And like you said, the whole story behind it with Del Rio hitting Kalisto hard with that chair in the beginning just to get the one up, I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought it was cool too. And yeah, I liked Mauro calling the match. I thought it was real fun because you go from his call and then, Byron Saxton would chime in right after, and it's wow, you go from this really high level of intensity to just 20 decibels below that. Yeah. It's just so weird. It's a shame. I was hoping Mauro would call the pay-per-view, but seeing him on the pre-show, I'm I guess baby steps.
Yeah, and something's better than nothing.
Yeah.
At least we got Corey Graves on the pre-show panel, which is great because I love Corey Graves as well. And I got Mauro, actually doing one of the matches.
Yeah, so we have some of the better guys, at least contributing in some ways prior to the pay-per-views. But it was a fun way to start off the pay-per-view, not your normal throwaway kind of pre-show match.
Pretty much. This match was not a throwaway like most pre-show matches are. I mean, some of the stuff that happened in Fastlane could have been the pre-show, but we'll get into that. So let's start with the first match, official Fastlane match, and that was the Divas tag match. So we had the team of Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks versus the team, well, whatever's left of Team Bad, Naomi and Tamina.
Yeah, the match was what I was hoping for. It wasn't like anything spectacular by any means, but I thought it was a well-worked match.
Yeah, solid wrestling in the match throughout the whole match. And
Becky sold well. I thought there were some fun spots, like when Becky was going for a hot tag, and I think it was Naomi pulled Sasha off the apron. Like, we've seen it before, but the timing was just so well, where it was like, oh, she almost had her, and Sasha's bump when she landed looked really good, too.
Yeah.
But it was filled with a lot of fun spots like that. It picked up towards the end, like you would expect. I forget the name of Naomi's terrible finisher, the where she just jumps and hits you with her ass.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan of it. But when she hit, I think it was Becky with it in the match, it was just like, whoa, that looked really stiff and hard. Like, it was the first time I ever thought, like, wow, that move actually looked really good, and like, I get it. So I thought it was just a nice little addition to the match, and the finish to the match was cool too.
Yeah, the finish was great. It basically shows that opposites attract with Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch, and they both went for their finisher. So Banks had the bank statement on, and Becky had the disarmer, and both of their opponents tapped out, and they both won.
Yeah, and it was cool. It's a cool looking visual. I always like the dual submission moves. It always looks really cool, and it was a fun match. I was happy. Yay, they needed the win.
Yes.
So they got their win, but immediately me in my head, like the second they got the win, I'm like, all right, Sasha, now clothesline Becky. Like you got the win. That was all you really needed Becky for. The prize is the title.
Yeah.
And I kind of like Becky as the clear defined face, and I love Sasha Banks, but like, she's a bad guy.
Yeah,
and that's why I love Sasha Banks, because she's a bad guy.
She's a legit boss.
Yeah, like, I feel like she's just a fantastic heel. So beat Becky up. I don't want Sasha being a face going forward. But it didn't happen, and I wasn't upset by it. It was a nice way to start off the pay-per-view.
It would have just been a good cherry on top for the whole thing.
Yeah.
What a way to start a pay-per-view with just a direct heel turn.
Oh, that would have been fantastic. We didn't get that, but it set it off to a nice start. Like, it made me expect a lot from the pay-per-view.
Definitely. I do agree with you on that. And the next match continued that bar, kept raising that bar, and that was the IC title with our man, the current IC champion, Kevin Owens, defending the title against Cleveland's own, but you wouldn't have noticed.
No, they didn't care.
Dolph Ziggler.
It was almost a little sad. Like, I mean, Dolph's dropped off at this point because, I mean, you realize, like, this is all you're going to be. It's a shame you're so wasted. I am a Dolph fan, but I find it so hard, kind of hard to like get up for him like I once did, and you kind of see it with the crowd in this match. But they were behind Kevin Owens, which was cool. We're always very much behind Kevin Owens. We haven't lost that drive yet.
Never.
Hopefully the company doesn't kill it for us like they did with Dolph. But it was a really fun match. I mean, Dolph came out and looked ridiculous, and he got a beating for looking the way he looked.
Yeah, he had like his own Cleveland special tights, his crazy layer braids going on in his hair. It was what it was, but I mean, it was a good match. They've wrestled so many times that I thought I wasn't gonna enjoy it, but I did enjoy it for what it was. I thought it was probably one of their better matches.
Yeah, this was probably my favorite of the matches of theirs, and again, I watched this at my friend's house who doesn't normally watch wrestling, and he's the one that, like, whenever there's a Kevin Owens match on, I always kind of really want him to get into the match. And I think the first one was against, like, Ryback, which wasn't that great. Then it was the Ambrose Survivor Series one, which wasn't bad, but still wasn't great. But this match, I finally got the oohs and ahs I'd always been waiting for watching the match with him. Like, the senton and the cannonball and the fisherman buster. Like, he'd done some of these moves before, but they were so much more, like, impactful in this match.
Well, Ziggler knows how to sell real well.
Yeah, and that helped. He had Ziggler making him look like $1 million, but it was just a fun Kevin Owens styled match, talking a lot of smack and hurling it Michael Cole's way, because they always got to fit that into a match.
And I think it's great that he always makes sure he keeps that in.
Yeah,
no matter what.
And like sometimes Michael Cole doesn't play it off very well, but it doesn't matter. Kevin Owens always does it great, even if it's something as simple as like the eye pointing, like the "I'm watching you." Kevin Owens is always just such a treat to watch in a match, and this one was really good. They got like a "This is awesome" chant from the crowd.
Yes.
I actually thought, well, like, it's not awesome, but this is kind of cool that the crowd's actually into it enough where they're chanting for something in the match.
And the match ended like the way we wanted it to, with Kevin Owens being the victor. And that's what we expected. Like we said before, it's a shame. We both enjoyed Dolph Ziggler for what he is, but he's that mid-card guy. And Kevin Owens' career is fresh and new in the WWE on the main roster. Still hasn't even hit a year. And he's already a 2-time Intercontinental Champion. We'll see where he goes from here, but I really enjoyed the match for what it was, and I'm just glad to see Kevin Owens on a pay-per-view defending his title and being able to show people what he does best.
Yeah, it was great. And then he got to show people on a smaller scale what he does amazingly as well, because if none of you guys have checked it out, go to like the WWE's website for that like mini backstage interview of his after he won the title. He doesn't get enough mic time on regular TV, but these backstage segments after pay-per-views are great, and this current one was like probably one of the best ones.
If you guys want to find a link, there's a link on the Facebook page, facebook.com/SoSaysNatal. If you don't want to sift through YouTube to find that video, we're not going to explain anything in the video. No. It's 2 minutes worth of your time, trust me.
But yeah, it's just Kevin Owens being amazing again. And it makes me really kind of excited but scared as to what they're going to do with him going towards WrestleMania, because, I mean, it's not a spoiler. We're not talking any Raw stuff. He wasn't on Raw this week, so he's your IC champ. He won the match, which we're excited for. But this is the WrestleMania season. Like, what's going to happen with our IC champ going into WrestleMania?
I have no idea. I haven't even put too much thought into it.
Yeah, I hope, I mean, it's WrestleMania, so not everything could be high profile, but I hope it's like on the radar at least for Kevin
Not
Owens.
Another Ziggler match, but something like maybe another up and comer, like maybe like a Neville or something like that.
I want AJ Styles.
Oh,
I want Kevin Owens and AJ Styles for the IC title at WrestleMania. I love that. That's what I want now.
And they already planted that seed at Royal Rumble because he's the one who threw him out at Rumble.
Yep. So you could already go back to there and move forward.
Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I almost gave away the ending to one of the matches at Fastlane. So let's pump the brakes a bit.
Yeah,
we got too excited. It was Kevin Owens talk, people. You gotta forgive us.
Yeah, and we also got really excited because at this point we had 2 good matches in the pay-per-view, and we were starting to get excited. But this is where the pay-per-view actually kind of dips down for a pretty good chunk of it.
Yeah, and the reason why it was the 6-man Titan match. So you had the Wyatts of Harper, Rowan, and Strowman versus Big Show, Kane, and the big guy, Ryback. The match was what it was.
Yeah, it was what it was, but I didn't really like what it was. The highlight of the match was at the very beginning when they take Byron Saxton's chair to give to Bray.
Yes.
Like, to me, that was the highlight of the match. It wasn't an awful match, but it was just a ton of punches and kicks. Like, that's all the match was, which... It's always such a shame because anytime I watch Luke Harper in a match, I'm just like, this guy could do so much more. But look who you have him working with, and he can't do all his crazy dive stuff with these guys. So it was just kind of really redundant and boring. And then at one point where it started to pick up, Ryback's in the ring and does a body slam. And I remember thinking to myself, like, all right, finally a different move in the match. But then he proceeds to do like 7 more body slams in a row. So it's just like, all right, really? We finally get a different move in this match. And now he kills it. His shell shock to Eric Rowan
looks so
brutal.
painful.
Yeah, like Rowan landed like right on his arm. It was kind of uncomfortable to watch. He just looked really awkward when he had him up. So to see him go down, it was terrible. And with that awful move, Ryback and Big Show and Kane win, and I don't understand why.
And that's where I come in. I'm so angry because I was sitting here watching it with Yuri, and she actually liked the match because she likes the big guys.
Oh, okay.
She likes the big wrestlers, so she was like, "This is awesome! Look at all these huge people in the ring fighting." So she really liked that. She finally got to see how big Braun Strowman really is compared to like Kane and Big Show and stuff like that. But at the end of the match, like, she was wondering why I was upset, and I was like, the Titans, the quote-unquote Titans, Big Show, Kane, and Ryback, don't need the win. Like, right now, it is official. The Wyatt family are the jokes. They are the rogues gallery of villains in the WWE. They talk a big game. They say they're going to do so much, and then they never deliver. Yeah. They may deliver on Main Event or SmackDown or Raw or wherever else, but when it comes to like pay-per-views, it's rare. When they finally win, you're shocked. You're like, wait, what? This match I thought was a shoo-in. I was like, no, nothing against Kane and Big Show, but they've been around for so long. They don't
need wins.
They don't need wins. They don't earn anything for doing this.
Yeah, they're Kane and the Big Show. They're always going to be Kane and the Big Show
always,
at this point.
No matter what. Ryback is a different story altogether.
Yeah.
But the Wyatt family really needs it, especially Strowman. I don't even remember Strowman ever being in like singles competition and actually winning a couple of matches.
He's still fairly new, so I think they're still like keeping him tag matches to like, kind of protect him.
So like he's already getting L's on the board, and it just does. They don't seem as formidable. Okay, I get it. You needed 3 other big guys to topple down the Wyatts, but the Wyatts already lost to 2 big guys. So.
Yeah, and like even though it wasn't as high profile, it's like they had a string of wins against like the Dudleys and the ECW rejects. And then they had like that was like the feud that would never end, because like that stretched into like different ECW, not like a crazy amount, but like a couple swappings on like Raws and stuff like that, right? Where it was still like the Dudleys, Tommy Dreamer, and then somebody else. So like they'd given the Wyatts like a string of wins, and then to just break it against these guys, like really, for what?
Yeah, it's weird, and it's not like it's a unified team. It's not like it's the New Day or like the Usos with Roman Reigns or something like that. It's like 3 guys that just teamed up together.
It's trying to sell this like team of the Wyatt family, but they can't beat 3 individuals. When like we're supposed to see the Wyatts as one, going against 3 different guys, but the ones that are supposed to be like this well-oiled machine that move like as one and think as one can't even beat the 3, guys that aren't built that way. I get what you're saying, and it does frustrate me as well.
Yeah, it's a shame. Like, whatever comes out of Bray Wyatt's mouth now, I'll never believe it ever again.
Yeah, it's just well-spoken garbage. It's a shame.
This sucks because it's really good garbage.
Yeah, it's the garbage that got you back into this.
Yeah.
Look how you talk about Bray Wyatt.
I still love him.
Yeah.
I think he's still fantastic. It just makes it... I love him so much, it bothers me
that much more annoying.
That they're losing, especially today. All right, let's get off this topic. If you enjoyed the match, kudos to you. But for the Men of 2000 Holds in this studio, we were not a fan of that finish.
Not at all.
That was before we go to the next match. Sorry, it's like beating a dead horse. That was the one finish of the night that actually shocked me, because I didn't expect the Titans to beat the Wyatts.
No, not at all. And it was like a bad kind of shock.
Yeah. It wasn't a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it wasn't like when Baron Corbin beat Apollo Crews. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, this was like, oh.
Or it wasn't like when Ty Dillinger beat Alex Riley.
Man, that was like Daniel Bryan winning WrestleMania to me. I'm like, yes,
it really was. Riley. I was like, say it to my face. You lost, Alex Riley. Anyway, that wasn't part of Fastlane. Let's get back into Fastlane. It should have been. And the next match is for the Divas title, where we have our Divas champion Charlotte defending it against Brie Mode. Good old Brie Bella.
Brie Mode.
Yeah.
I just hate the whole Brie Mode thing.
I can't stand Brie Mode.
All right, so I had problems with this match as well, but it was for different reasons. I liked the story that they were trying to tell in the match. I liked a lot of the spots and like the match itself that they had set up, but their execution on a lot of things, like their timing seemed off. Like I just thought it was a real clunky kind of match, and it took me out of it.
I agree. You can even tell the commentators, granted they don't, really say a lot of the moves in the match. They're too busy talking about hashtags and making fun of one another. But even when they were trying to follow along with the match, they kept like kind of giving moves away. They're like, oh my God, it's really going for the yes lock. And it was like a weird hodgepodge of like fumbling between her and Charlotte. And then she didn't even end up getting the yes lock on her to like moves later, like a couple of moves later on.
Yeah.
Which was really weird.
And if they were supposed to be spots where it's like, oh, Charlotte fought out of the yes lock, it didn't look that way. Like it didn't really come across that way. It looked really sloppy.
It was quite a long match, actually. I feel like they were wrestling for quite some time. Both female wrestlers looked strong for, what they could do.
Yeah.
I like that Charlotte did the natural selection, which is really cool because she rarely does that. And, it ended the way we wanted it to end, with Charlotte winning. But it was really weird, because Brie had her in the yes lock and then switched it into a half Boston Crab.
Yeah, and then like the stories like Brie's knee gave out. But it wasn't conveyed very well. Like again, like I'm watching it and I'm like, all right, so I know this is what they wanted to go for, but it's really not how it came across. There was a lot of moments like that in the match. Again, like I wasn't expecting anything like spectacular, but I think Brie can hold her own. She's like not phenomenal, but she's not, Alicia Fox. And Charlotte's good, so I thought they would have put together a pretty decent match, but it just didn't really do much for me. I think part of the stuff that annoyed me too is like, I get it, the whole story going going in as, Brie kind of fighting because, Daniel Bryan can't do it anymore. But when she came out dressed up basically like Daniel Bryan,
yeah.
like my eyes rolled. A part of me is just like, is her moveset going to be like when Eddie died and then Chavo Guerrero was just like, hey, I'm doing Eddie Guerrero's greatest hits for you guys. I'm like, is that what Brie's going to be doing now? We got even more than that. I mean, she came out in his ring gear.
Yeah, furry boots and all. I mean, it was something else.
She had his dragon on her top. Like it just made me roll my eyes. But I mean, that wasn't the reason I didn't like the match. It was just the match was really kind of clunky and just didn't work well for me.
And what also was disappointing about the match is Ric Flair seems like he can't get involved as much ever since that whole making out with Becky Lynch scandal.
Well, that's his fault. It's like, is that really the only way you could provide any kind of interference?
Yeah.
If that's what ends up happening because of it and Flair can't get involved in it as much, I'm fine with it because I like the idea of Charlotte doing this stuff on her own. I mean, yeah, Flair talked smack and it kind of rattled Brie a little bit, but it didn't factor directly into the finish of the match or anything like that. So I'm fine with Flair working out this way.
There was one time where he tried to grab Charlotte's foot to put it on the rope, and the ref caught him. And he didn't even throw him out of the match, just told him, stop it, old man.
Yeah, seriously. The ref blatantly saw it. He should have been get out of here.
Yeah, well, he didn't. And because he didn't, Charlotte ended up winning the match. And Charlotte is still your current Divas champion.
Yeah, which is fine. That's what we wanted. Just, a nice little win for Charlotte to move on to WrestleMania with her as the champ.
And from the Divas match, this is where the night starts to pick up again. This is where they go 0 to 60. The light has gone from red to green. And this is round 3 of the feud between AJ Styles and Chris Jericho. The rubber match. Who's going to come out the victor between these two combatants in the ring?
This was a good match. This was a match I was excited for. Nothing spectacular where you're like, oh my god, but it was just a really solid 15 minutes between these guys. Hard hitting. When AJ Styles does those backhand punches, it's just oh my god, those are so
He's going to give people cauliflower here.
Yeah, I mean, you already saw he knocked some of the Miz's, part of the Miz's tooth out. That's how hard he's hitting them. But yeah, every time he just starts spinning and punching, it's just so brutal to watch. But it was a lot of fun. Again, this match had some spots where it's just a little clunky. Your timing was off. AJ springboard and Jericho kicking the ropes.
Yep.
There was that other really cool spot where, I think it was AJ jumped over the top rope to the outside and Jericho did the drop kick. And it's it looked cool the first time, but when they showed you the replay the second time, you're like, that wasn't as good as it could have been. And only 1 foot kind of hit. Again, nothing awful. I mean, still 1 foot of a man kicking another man coming down, that's still going to hurt.
Not only that, but I give Jericho credit. Dude's 45 years old. He doesn't wear t-shirts anymore. He's past the age of shirts. Not only is he booking his own matches, he booked this match too, because before we go into what happened, the only thing we're going to talk about is SmackDown. So at SmackDown before Fastlane, that was when Jericho was supposed to give AJ his answer. Miz shows up, Jericho fights Miz, beats Miz, whatever. Jericho calls AJ out, AJ shows up. Jericho tells him no. He's like, I don't want to do any favors for you. He said, you're a great in-ring competitor, but I don't respect you as a person. I don't even really like you. So why should I give you any favors in the WWE?
That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Jericho's a big name.
Not only that, but this is heel Jericho. This is good Jericho.
Yeah.
I'm not here to, pander to you, Jericho. I'm just here to do the best at what I do. And AJ didn't like the answer and attacked Jericho, and then Jericho got mad and was like, fine, you got your match, but you're going to regret it. So, and that's what led us to Fastlane and having this phenomenal match. And besides that spot with AJ jumping out of the ring and Jericho hitting him with the dropkick, it was really awesome to see Chris Jericho do the Lion Tamer outside
that was on really AJ, cool, yeah.
Which was really, really cool. And the finish was interesting. AJ Styles was able to get Chris Jericho into the Styles Clash.
Yeah.
Jericho kicks out of Styles Clash, and then
big deal.
And then AJ goes for the calf crusher, and Jericho taps out to the calf crusher, and there we go. Rubber match winner, AJ Styles. AJ 2, Jericho 1.
Yeah, I was surprised because I thought once he hit him with the Styles Clash, I thought the match was done, and I was like, all right, cool. And then he kicked out of it, and a part of me was just like, really? You teased it for a bunch. He's only hit it once, and that I know of.
Yeah, once or twice
in the company, and then so early in the run, you already have someone kick out of the move. But it wasn't the end of the world. And then the calf crusher looked really cool. Jericho doesn't really tap out very often, and I can't remember the last time he did it. I don't know, off the top of my head, all I can think of is WrestleMania 28 against CM Punk, maybe. That's the last time I could think of it. So it's kind of a big deal to have Jericho tap out. So in the end, I was happy with that. It puts the calf crusher over as a really brutal move because even Jericho's face, he sold it well. And the whole drama when it came to like tapping at the end, should I, shouldn't I thought Jericho did it pretty well. So I was fine with the end of the match. And then again, it was a match where we had someone win and they do the whole like respect thing.
Yeah.
And I was just waiting for Jericho to kick AJ in the crotch or something like that. Like
Something.
I want
a code breaker.
Jericho.
Yeah, a forearm to the back of the head when he's leaving the ring. Something, anything.
But no, we don't get that. We get, all right, good match, and they head out. I'm more bloodthirsty on the main roster. Like in NXT, that stuff kind of works for me. I'm like, all right, good for them. On the main roster, I'm like, dude, kill him and then make his family scared for their life. Like, that's what I want to go on the main roster.
Well, that's what pays the bills, and sometimes we need that black and white good versus bad, and we don't really have that on the main roster now.
Yeah, there's too many shades of gray up there, but it was a really fun match, and I'm glad we got to get like a pay-per-view Chris Jericho AJ Styles match, because this was my favorite of the three of their matches.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the two best matches of the night, because I really liked Owen Ziggler, and I really like this match as well. It's the best matches, and it's not because it has like my favorite wrestlers. I actually enjoy all four, competitors in those matches, but nonetheless, they're just the best competitors out there.
And that's what helps. You have two matches with four guys that are really awesome.
Mm-hmm. And Jericho, again, phenomenal. I think he did as great as he can at doing all that DDP yoga he does, and doing the podcast and everything else he does in Fozzy. I think he did a great job in the pay-per-view. I hope he's at Mania with AJ in his career now. Like you said earlier in the podcast, I hope it goes towards Owens, and we could get Owens.
Yes. Owens AJ at WrestleMania. That's really what I want to see. There's a lot of time to build to WrestleMania. I mean, they came hard out of the gates last night. Like, we'll get to that later, but Raw wasn't just like, oh, like Fastlane's over, we'll come down. Raw came out and was just like, WrestleMania, guys. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where, like, AJ and Kevin Owens and all those guys fit in. But for where Fastlane ended, it was just really nice to see AJ get a solid win over like a veteran. Like, yeah, he'd beat Chris Jericho before, but now this was like, he got a guy to tap out who doesn't really tap out very often. Which is a story I wish the announcers had actually conveyed.
Well, if it was Mauro Ranallo or Corey Graves, they would have definitely mentioned
they would have had the date. Like, I was like, around, I think, WrestleMania. They would have been like, it was, such and such and such. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. But it was a cool win for AJ Styles. And then the pay-per-view gets really bad now until the main event.
So, I said when I was watching this pay-per-view, it turned to an episode of Monday Night Raw. And then the Men of 2000 Holds made it even better and said it turned into an episode of Main Event. And that's pretty much what happened. Yeah. So I was watching and I was like, okay, so the last match is the main event. It's the triple threat.
You're like, oh my God, they're going to get so much time.
I was like, they're going to get a lot of time. It's going to be great. There's probably going to be a lot of promo packages, a lot of shenanigans. It's a no DQ match. We might get surprise wrestlers running in. Who knows? Something. But I forgot about the Edge and Christian segment. Yeah. So we had this Edge and Christian New Day segment. I don't really want to go into it. In my opinion, it wasn't really good. I feel like it was a waste of the show. They just needed to fill like 25 minutes
and promote the new Edge and Christian show.
That totally reeks of awesomeness. Which, real quick, my review, I watched it at the end of the Fastlane. That show just totally reeks. It's bad. Yeah. I wanted to like it because I do enjoy Edge and Christian, but it's just it feels outdated. Whatever. That's for another podcast.
But for this segment, it wasn't good. And like, I wasn't super looking forward to it, but I mean, anytime Christian shows up, I get really excited. And then I like Edge a lot, and the New Day's awesome, so I assume like, I'll get something entertaining out of this.
Especially since, we got such a great kick out of the first time they encountered one another with Big E trying to eat the kazoo.
That was great. And this is like, all right, they're going to get more time. Like, this will be kind of cool. And it really wasn't kind of cool. It was a waste as far as I was concerned. So, yeah, we had that segment. And I'm like, all right, well, at least we'll get the main event now. But no, they had something even worse in store for us.
Before that, back to the whole Shades of Grey thing. It started off with New Day hating Edge and Christian. Then the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the League of Nations show up, and then it ends with the New Day hanging out with Edge and Christian being mad at the League of Nations. I was like, wait, you guys didn't explain or do anything?
No, it made no sense to me. More jabs at like the League of Nations where they're like already not a big deal and you're just making them even less of a deal. So I really could have done without the whole segment.
And the next team that actually is more important than the League of Nations that had their own segment after the League of Nations is the Social Outcasts. The Social Outcasts were on Fastlane. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Adam Rose and, Bo Dallas, and Curtis Axel grows on me, and I can't stand Heath Slater. But Curtis Axel grows on me. I like him for what he is.
Yeah, no, he's played into his part well.
But, really, them on
a pay-per-view.
On a pay-per-view, and I can understand they fought someone formidable, but they wrestled against R-Truth.
No.
And it wasn't to push Social Outcasts either. It was to push R-Truth and Goldust becoming the Golden Truth, this new tag team.
Yeah, well, it's just like someone thought of that tag team name and was like, this is great, we got to use it. And then they kind of built a story around it.
And this story's been, I guess, progressing on SmackDown. We haven't really been talking about it.
It's on some of the Raw, but it's just Hulu spares us from that.
Yeah, thank you, Hulu, so much. But then, unfortunately, WWE Network doesn't spare us from
They're like, no, on the pay-per-view, you're going to get this terrible match.
So, R-Truth ends up losing, actually, to Curtis Axel because Goldust tripped Axel, and somehow that ruined R-Truth. I don't know. Whatever. And then Truth was mad, and Goldust tried to say he was sorry, and Truth didn't want to hear it. I can't believe I'm actually explaining this stuff to you guys.
Yeah, we're narrating something that should have happened on Superstars on a pay-per-view. It was terrible.
Yeah, and this match was not announced. It wasn't written down because last week we didn't say we were excited for this match. This just came out of nowhere, and I think they did that on purpose. Maybe they had to fill in time. I don't know. Finally, with the time wasted, with that episode of Superstars out of the way that was fit in between Fastlane, we get back to Fastlane. We get back to the main event where you got the Beast, the Conqueror, Brock Lesnar fighting against Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. Believe that. I don't want to. Stop telling me what I want, WWE, in a triple threat match. And I know. And whoever wins this triple threat match goes on to WrestleMania to face the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, The Game, Triple H. What did you think of this match, Steve?
I thought it was a good match.
Yeah, me too.
I did think it was a good match. I was excited going into the match. That helped. I enjoyed a lot of the spots.
Yes.
I like Dean Ambrose's new T-shirt. I think it's really cool.
It's a good T-shirt.
I still hate Roman Reigns.
You better.
I still hate Roman Reigns very much. I hate him a little bit more after this match. I've been saying it for weeks. I knew he was going to win the match.
We all knew he was going to win the match.
But I didn't want him to win the match. I didn't want to believe he was going to win the match.
I did not want to believe that.
Yeah. There were some moments near the end where a part of me was just like, will they finally pull the trigger? Is Dean Ambrose actually going to win this match?
I thought so too. There were some parts I was like, this is going to happen.
And then we have that cool spot at the end where Brock has Roman Reigns in the Kimura lock, and Reigns is standing holding Brock, which was just kind of mind-blowing to see. And Dean proceeds to just beat Brock to death with the chair, and then hits Roman Reigns with the chair too, but it doesn't matter because he's got so much padding.
Yeah.
But when he was hitting Brock, I said, damn it, this is the end of the match. He's going to turn around into a spear, and Roman Reigns is going to go to WrestleMania. And it happened, and it just really killed momentum for me to the night. It's one, I knew it was going to happen, but I really hoped it wouldn't have happened. A finish I am not happy with at all, but it really takes nothing away from the match. It was a lot of fun. It's always fun to see Brock Lesnar throw people around, and he took them both to Suplex City like crazy in that match.
I think every wrestler was booked very well in the match. Having Brock Lesnar dominate right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Boom. Lesnar's already taking both of them out. They're done. It's a wrap. And then Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose having to put, whatever differences they have aside to help take out Lesnar. They did not put him through one announce table. Nope. They put him through 2 announce tables and then proceeded to bury him with all the fragmented pieces of the announce tables. That was cool. And then got back in the ring. And then we had that amazing spot where Lesnar picked up Roman Reigns, who already had Dean Ambrose on his back for a Samoan drop, and suplexed both of them.
Oh, my friend loved that
Which
spot.
Was incredible.
Yeah, he thought that was great. I thought that was great. But yeah, there were a lot of fun moments that I liked in the match. I liked when, after Ambrose and Reigns put Brock through the first table, and Reigns is smiling into the crowd, Ambrose just starts beating up on Reigns and putting him in the ring to win. And then they notice Brock stirring. We got to take him down again, so they do the spot again. And then when they're done with it that time, Reigns attacks him. I really like that. Yeah. Again, it shows how stupid Reigns is that he gets suckered attacked the first time around. It's you should have expected it. Dean's been telling you for weeks, and he showed you on Raw last week. nothing's going to stop him in this match. But, of course, Reigns looks like a dope. But
he is a dope.
He is. But the second time around, I like the fact that Reigns jumped on it. But it was a fun match. My favorite moments were, of course, when Reigns was just kind of outside selling. I loved when Brock was suplexing Ambrose. I just really liked the way Dean was taking the suplexes, like almost like spinning over on himself from the force of the suplexes. It looked really cool, and Ambrose just looked really good in this match.
He looked great in the match, especially since he was the one orchestrating everything. Like, hey, we're gonna do this to take Lesnar out, and even like when Roman Reigns and Ambrose were both winded from beating the crap out of each other, when they saw Lesnar stirring, they're like, we gotta put him through the second table. Dean did most of the orchestrating and picking up Lesnar and putting him on Roman Reigns' shoulders, for that power bomb, which I think is hilarious. I'm like, look at this. Dean is doing most of the work. But we've seen that time and time again. Even, I believe it was at SummerSlam where Roman was sleeping. We were like, Roman's sleeping. And Dean Ambrose was dealing with haymakers and crazy attacks from the Wyatt family, especially Bray Wyatt in that match. And the same thing happened this time around. But this is probably the best performance Roman Reigns had. And it's funny. I don't mind Roman Reigns performing in the ring until he does that stupid shotgun thing with his arm. Oh, yeah. And he leans back with for the spear thing. The ooh-ah.
You don't like the ooh-ah?
When he does those two things, I'm like, this is when the match goes downhill. Or is it like it's the trigger that I know this is where I'm not gonna like it. And the pay-per-view ended, which I should be happy, but I really wasn't. The current WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the Game, Triple H, comes out. I should be losing my mind because I love Triple H so much. No, it was just
just came out right now.
See, not that Triple H I'm excited for. He got hair, he got a water bottle, he got no shirt on. He's following the steps of Jericho. But the one that came out on Fastlane was in a business suit with a shaved head, and all he showed up for was for some good promo shots. So, because he held up that title by the WrestleMania sign to stare at Roman. He literally showed up there for a 5-second photo op. That's what he did.
Oh, totally. They marked that spot out earlier in the night. Like, this is where we need to be to end the night.
And the thing that bothers me about that is now Roman Reigns has every reason to hate Triple H and beat up on him, but he doesn't beat up on him. They stay and stare at each other, very stoic in the ring like statues. But when Roman Reigns won the title, Triple H didn't do anything. He just came in to congratulate him. Roman Reigns beats him up.
Yeah. He just went crazy on him. The storyline logic has made no sense. I mean, they've stopped even playing up the whole family aspect that they were playing up before. It doesn't initially when we knew it was leading to Roman Reigns Triple H, it was because that was the story to tell. That was the story that they had set in motion. But now it feels like they're not continuing from where they had left off, and that's what has me really baffled about this. It's like, well, anyone could have been the challenger then if this is the course you're going to go. But unfortunately, it's not. It's Roman Reigns, and in 41 days or however many it is, he will be our new WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
And it sucks that we know that. I love the one thing I love the most about wrestling is being surprised. Yeah. Them going, what? Like when Kevin Owens beat John Cena clean, I was shocked. Because I was like, wait, his first match is against John Cena in the main roster? Oh, well. That was a nice short-lived run, Kevin Owens. And then I was like, wait, what?
So we saw what happened after. Yeah, but those first two. Yeah. I mean, that first one, it was great.
It was fantastic. And it sucks that we know that Mania, we're getting Reigns again 3 times. You're World Heavyweight Champion at Mania, because there's no way Triple H is going to hold that title unless they make the main event a triple threat. And then what was the point of Fastlane?
Yeah, I mean, it would just follow what's kind of happened the last couple of years where they're like, this is going to be your main event, and there's so much backlash. It's like, all right, well, we'll do something to kind of change it. Yeah. Because, I mean, people weren't too jazzed about Roman Brock last year. Their audible was pretty good. Yeah. With Seth Rollins coming in. Yeah. But there's nothing like that for this year. Sheamus has already done the Money in the Bank. So there's going to be, one way or the other, one of those two guys, and I don't see Triple H continuing. But, the end of the pay-per-view made me really sad. I mean, I hate the man, but that shot of Triple H coming out to face off against Roman Reigns actually made me say out loud, I miss John Cena.
Oh, don't say that.
And I really mean it. Like, at least he's an active guy on the roster.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch, Roman Reigns against John Cena. It would make sense with the way these two guys are billed in the company, but
Everyone hates them.
yeah, everyone hates them, but they're both like the poster boys for the company. So it's the two poster boys facing off. I'd rather see that match than Triple H against Roman Reigns.
And then you could release limited edition posters with their faces solo since they're poster boys.
Oh, I like it.
And then after the match, they become a tag team called the Poster Boys.
I don't know how to respond to that, but all I know is that was how Fastlane ended, and to be honest, I wasn't like super psyched coming out of it. I wasn't like, yes, WrestleMania's out of the coming around the corner, and I like where the starting position was, because I didn't like where the starting position was coming out of the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
but as a whole, it wasn't a terrible pay-per-view.
It wasn't.
Like, it had its moments.
No, the first 2 hours were a solid pay-per-view. The last hour is where it became a head scratcher. Yeah. That was the problem with it. If they would have cut out a good chunk of that pay-per-view and Dean Ambrose winning, it would have been the other outcome. Then we would have been singing a different tune. But before we put Fastlane behind us, we reached out in the social media world and wanted to know what you guys thought of the WWE pay-per-view Fastlane. And we got a couple of responses, and we want to share them with you right now in the air. Again, thank you so much for taking your time and going to the Facebook page and responding to these polls when we release them every week before we start our podcast.
And I want you guys to know that this was completely against my will. I did not want him to read them on the air, but continue.
I do what I want. The first one is 2 wasted segments where we could have had good matches. Our true social outcasts especially. I could have lived with the Edge and Christian New Day show. I mean, that's what we just pretty much said. Yeah, 2 wasted segments.
Yeah, so this is obviously someone trying to get in our good graces. Probably didn't really think of this idea himself. I feel like he thought this is what the Men of 2000 Holds is going to say. But I think it's really cool that he was confident enough in it to actually write it down and think we wouldn't see through that.
Well, I think it's amazing of him that he has that type of thought process, and that is going to make him nothing but successful in his life, no matter what he does. Continue on that path, sir. The next answer we got was, Styles Jericho was awesome, and the main event was a good match. The Titans of WWE versus the Wyatts was bull crap. And I had to edit that because it was a lot worse. But yes, it was bull crap. Yes, we agree with you.
All right, so again, yeah, basically what we just said, but I'm sure that's the consensus going around a lot of people's heads after watching that pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I totally agree with this person.
And the last one broke down every match with a little bit of their own opinion.
Ooh.
So here we go. 20% good. Divas tag was okay. Styles versus Jericho was the match of the night. The 6-man tag, which is the Titans, was meh. Brie versus Charlotte was trash.
Nah.
Edge Christian New Day segment was trash.
Yeah.
Truth versus Curtis Axel, Y, aka trash. Owens versus Dolph, solid. Dolph buried. And main event, good match, ass finish.
I agree with that. I don't think Dolph got buried in that match.
No, not at all. No,
but yeah, that's a pretty decent assessment of the pay-per-view.
With your contributions out of the way, we are going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to discuss everything Monday Night Raw, which leads to everything WrestleMania. They held no punches, and we're going to do the same. Stay tuned.
You can catch Natal on 3 separate podcasts. Yes, 3. You can catch him on Fight Your Rival with Michael Andronico, Podcast Championship Wrestling with the other half of the Men of 2000 Holds, Steve, and So Says Natal podcasts. You can find all 3 podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher. And you can follow him on Twitter at SoSaysNatal1, on Instagram at SoSaysNatal, and on Facebook, facebook.com/SoSaysNatal. You can support any of the podcasts by sending your comments, questions, and suggestions to sosaysnatal@gmail.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe across all platforms. You have just been educated.
Welcome back to episode 31 of Podcast Championship Wrestling, hosted by the Men of 2000 Holds, and it's time to discuss everything Monday Night Raw. And I had to use my Vince McMahon voice because Vince McMahon started off this episode of Raw to give out the Vincent J. McMahon Lifetime of Excellence Award or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Lifetime Achievement. Who cares? Something that I was just like,
Legacy of Excellence, I believe it was.
Look, you remember.
Yeah, so he came out, did his little speech. He says, no one deserved this title until now. This is the first time. It's the most coveted trophy of all since the Hall of Fame has been tarnished. We'll get into that later. So this is the new one. This is the one that actually means something.
Oh, okay.
And the first recipient of the Vincent J. McMahon Award.
Who is it?
Stephanie McMahon.
Oh.
So it's the queendom where the kings bow down.
Okay.
So Stephanie McMahon shows up. She has a prepared speech, even though she had no idea that she was going to win.
And you got to be, you got
to be prepared. Especially someone in her position in the WWE, you always got to be prepared.
Oh, I walk around with like at least 3 or 4 different acceptance speeches on me.
Yeah, it all depends on what location and what towns we're in.
Totally.
So, yeah, we have a folder. But anyway, we're not talking about us. We're talking about the McMahons. Those are not the only McMahons. It was after Stephanie McMahon tried to accept her award, she got interrupted by Shane O'Mac. Here comes the money.
That was awesome. That was a surprise.
It's a huge surprise. Unfortunately, I wasn't that surprised because social media ruined it for me. But it is what it is. And now Shane O'Mac is back. He hasn't been in the WWE for about 6 to 7 years, I believe.
Yeah,
so
something like that.
It's a while. It's been a while. And it's funny. The first thing me and Steve thought was, wow, he's gray. I can't believe they're letting him in with gray hair. Because we all know
Vince doesn't like guys with grays, and you got to put dye in that.
Yeah, and Vince had no grays in his hair. He looked younger than his son, just from the hair color alone. But so Shane came into the ring. Everyone was losing their mind. Once the crowd shut up, Shane was able to talk and basically dropped some Days of Our Lives soap opera stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Where apparently he has something on Vince, and he told Vince, I'm going to go away for a while, but now I want to come back, and I basically want to take over Monday Night Raw. And what Shane was saying was true. That was a shoot. In the words of Steve Austin, that was a shoot that he shot on Stephanie. Basically said that ever since Stephanie took over, wrestling hasn't been as good. All the main superstars are injured. The ratings haven't been as good. The buyout rates haven't been as good. The shows have been pretty empty. And I was like, wow, that's hardcore. They're airing out their dirty laundry like right here on live on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. Well, it's stuff that's not a secret from anybody. So I kind of like the fact that the WWE is trying to take it and use it.
Well, they're smart. They've always done that. I think the reason why they're so great at what they do is they take that real life story and just find a way to twist it into the WWE Universe storyline. They've done it before with the Montreal Screwjob and Edge and Matt Hardy and just so many other storylines.
Yeah, so this is no different than any of those, and they found a way to work it in, which is good for them.
And this is where we get our first major announcement for WrestleMania besides Roman Reigns and Triple H.
Oh yeah, because that was solidified the night before.
Yeah, that's the main event. WrestleMania, Roman Reigns, Triple H. We don't care. Roman Reigns is going to win the title. No one gives a crap. Yep. So this is why this episode of Monday Night Raw was so important, and we were blown away by all the match announcements because you could tell they are already playing cleanup. Yep. They got the cleanup crew. They have the hazmat suits on. They're trying to clean up the mess from Fastlane. And Shane O'Mac wants Raw. Vince says, I'll give you whatever you want under one stipulation, and that stipulation is you have a match against a wrestler at my time and my choosing, and if you lose, you don't get Raw, and you get the little black box that you have, and I want the key, and I want to destroy all the contents, and blah, 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 blah. Shane O'Mac agrees to it, and before Shane O'Mac leaves, we get this match for WrestleMania. It is Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker.
Oh, man. But that's not it.
You're right, Steve. I almost forgot the best part. And that match will take place in a Hell in a Cell.
Because, fighting The Undertaker's not scary enough. You got to put him in a Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, because he didn't want Shane running away with his tail between his legs.
It's smart. I'd run away from The Undertaker.
Yeah, Hell in a Cell, Undertaker match. Now, when I first heard this, I was like, what? Okay, WrestleMania now just got even worse. Nothing against Shane and whatnot, but it's The Undertaker. And when Undertaker shows up to WrestleMania, it's a big deal. And now he's just being used as a pawn. But then I thought, John Cena's injured. They probably wanted to do Cena-Taker. Yeah. Which makes so much sense,
totally.
But they can't because Cena's injured. They'll probably say that for another Mania because I highly doubt Taker's last Mania is going to be against Shane McMahon.
Yeah. I was a little bit more excited just because I was kind of the mentality where it's like, well, it's not your crazy high profile Undertaker match, but I still think it'll be a fun match just because Shane does just some ridiculous things in the ring.
No, yeah, he has.
And having these things about to come from the hands of The Undertaker in this match, it's just going to make for some fun watching. Yeah, I'm not expecting like a classic. I'm not expecting a wrestling match. I'm expecting like a fight.
A spectacle.
In this match. So I'm for it. I mean, also like... Undertaker fought Bray last year, and the match really didn't mean anything. It was just kind of like Undertaker's greatest hits in the match kind of deal. So I wasn't expecting anything mind-blowing this year. So, sad to say when you're talking about The Undertaker, but I really wasn't expecting it. So because this was such a surprise and so out of left field, and because for so long all the rumblings were like, Braun Strowman, and it's just like, oh God, I don't want to see that match.
You're right.
I'd much rather see Undertaker Shane than, what was... the grumblings going on before. So I was excited. And again, just not seeing Shane around in a super long time, it made the moment exciting for me.
Since you just mentioned Shane versus Taker besides Taker versus Strowman, I'll take Shane versus Taker any day over Strowman. Because, that would have just been a boring match. It would have been
boring.
And that would have probably been Braun Strowman's first solo match, and he would have lost it.
To The Undertaker.
Well, whatever. So, I guess that's a definitely better booking.
And again, it's WrestleMania. It's got to be these big, high-caliber, spectacle kind of matches. Like, Shane McMahon is a big name because it hasn't been thrown around in a while, and people remember what Shane has done in the past, and he's fighting The Undertaker. Like, those are big names to go at it with each other at WrestleMania. And I can tell you I'm more excited for that match than Triple H Roman Reigns.
Yep. So we already know Roman Reigns is locked in WrestleMania. Where does that leave Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar, right? Like, where does that leave them?
Yeah, I mean, nothing really seems super settled with them after the pay-per-view. They both lost their shot at the World Heavyweight Championship, so where do these guys go?
Well, they were going to Monday Night Raw, and Dean Ambrose got out of a car, and he was on his way to the back, and he got attacked hard.
Yeah, he did.
Hard by Lesnar. Lesnar beat the crap out of him. It looked really real, looked really good. Beat him up outside and basically threw him on the hood of a limousine and cracked the windshield with Dean Ambrose's body, and Dean Ambrose had to be taken away in an ambulance with a neck brace on his neck. And that's how you start Monday Night Raw, with Dean Ambrose being hospitalized.
Yeah, just a very angry Brock Lesnar is roaming around backstage.
And the reason why Dean Ambrose got that beating from Lesnar is because Lesnar had the win. He had Roman in that Kimura lock. Roman would have tapped. Lesnar would have made it to Mania. But Ambrose came in crazy, swinging that chair, and basically helped Reigns get out of that move.
Yeah, and that was how Brock Lesnar saw it, because later on, when him and Heyman show up, Heyman comes out. Oh my God, he delivered a fantastic promo last night, and that was one of the points that, he mentioned in the promo that, Lesnar had the match won, and if not for Ambrose turning a straight-up fight into something dirty by introducing the steel chair, Brock would have won the match. And it was just a great promo. I mean, Heyman was super pumped, sold Brock well. He is the main event. You even pointed out Triple H, you're fighting Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, but Brock Lesnar is the main event.
Yeah.
Just Heyman doing his magic on the mic, making Brock seem bigger than life. And then at the end of the promo, we get stupid sirens. It was just something that made me roll my eyes, but the end result was Dean Ambrose driving back into the arena.
Yeah.
And just, he's not done. Brock hasn't put him down yet, and this got me excited. I didn't like the whole driving thing but I'm like, all right, so they're interacting. Is this what we're building towards? And Dean just brings his carcass down to the ringside.
Yes.
And then Lesnar just walks away from him.
Yeah, walks over him, and he's like, I'm done.
Yeah, done with you. Look what I've done to you. And then Dean says something fantastic. He wants Brock at WrestleMania in a no-holds-barred street fight, and Brock accepts the match. So now we have official Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, which is awesome.
And that's the match I wanted at the end of Fastlane. When I saw the finish to Fastlane, I was like, this is fine, as long as I get Lesnar and Ambrose at Mania, because that is going to be my real main event.
Yeah, totally.
And not only am I getting that match, but it's going to be a Roddy Piper Goldust match. It's a street fight. It's going to be awesome. I hope there's cars involved. It's going to be fantastic.
Well, it's not a backlot brawl. Hopefully they don't turn it into that.
I want them to.
You want a backlot brawl with
yes,
them?
I do.
But it should be fun. I mean, Ambrose is crazy. He'll take a beating from Lesnar. And because of Ambrose's style, the street fight will really fit into the match. I'm super excited for this. Because, I mean, you saw at Royal Rumble, it looked like they were trying to lead towards a Wyatt Wyatt Lesnar thing.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad it didn't go that way because I wasn't super excited for that. I didn't want to see Brock fight Bray.
Not only that, but if he did, we already know Bray loses because they lose all the time.
Yeah. So this is more exciting. I mean, I can't make a prediction right now because we've just seen the very beginning of this story. But I guess like automatically, I assume it's just like, well, Lesnar's going to go over.
See, I think Dean's going to go over.
Oh, I would love him.
Because since it's a street fight, it'll be allowed for Dean to go over because he's allowed to use weapons. It's a street fight. He has to do more than the average competitor to be able to topple the beast at WrestleMania.
And he could do a lot more things with like weapons and stuff to take out Lesnar, which is something other guys didn't have at their disposal as well. So yeah, I could see that, and I would love that to happen at the end of the day. But either way, this should be really exciting because, again, I like the portions of the triple threat where it was just the two of them in the ring. So I'm super excited, and again, just coming out of Monday Night Raw, I mean, like, at Fastlane we had the main event solidified, but coming out of Raw we have Undertaker versus Shane McMahon in a Hell in a Cell, and Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose in a street fight already set for WrestleMania.
Yeah,
so
locked
that's
in.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah. And there's normally about 7 matches at Mania, so that's 3 out of the 7, so we got 4 more to go. So hopefully it's an IC title, Divas title, US, and tag. I mean, those could be the other matches.
There's a lot of time before WrestleMania. They came out hard out of the gates with these 3 matches this week. Like we said before, there was no Kevin Owens on the show.
No.
Maybe next week they spend a little bit more time with some of the undercard stuff. I mean, granted, they rarely do stuff like that. It's usually slapped together. But I'd hope for more this year with Kevin Owens than just like your standard, it's an IC title match, so we're going to have 7 guys in a ladder match. Yeah. Like, I would really like a singles match for the IC title. And
a meaningful IC title match.
Exactly. That'd be great. Because, again, it's WrestleMania. And why not have something like that?
We're already going to have that 30-man, probably, Andre Giant over the top.
Yeah, just to get everybody on the show. And that one's usually just kind of boring and it doesn't amount to much. Yeah. So I never really expect much from that. So there's kind of like your spectacle kind of match. Why not have the IC title just be a singles match? The US title, you can make it the train wreck match if you want.
Or the tag title, because there's so many tag teams now. They're trying to make so many tag teams now. Hopefully by then the Golden Truth will be a tag team and they could go for the tag
and they
title.
could win their dream and become champions at WrestleMania. But Raw wasn't like fantastic by any means this week, but it was exciting in that it really set up WrestleMania like right out of the gate. Yeah. Like, we're in WrestleMania season, so I'm just excited already because of that, because it's WrestleMania. WrestleMania is awesome. It's the most exciting event that they have, and we're on our way for it now, and it's fun. This is our first time doing this show where we get to talk about WrestleMania the whole time leading up to it.
Yeah, the whole time leading up to it. It's April 4th. It's first week of April. It's in Texas.
Yeah, Texas.
And since we are done talking about Mania, let's wrap up a little Raw and how Raw ended. So we got a Sheamus Roman Reigns match. No one cares.
I didn't care. We actually skipped it.
Yeah, we actually skipped it and just went straight to the end. Who won the match? Nobody won the match because Roman Reigns was rolling in and he was about to win by a count out. And after 9, the game's music kicked on, and this is when Raw got exciting for me because he did not show up like he did at Fastlane in a tuxedo, in a business suit. He showed up ready to fight. Leather jacket, so leathery he couldn't even get it off his own arms. T-shirt, jeans, hands taped up, title in hand, wrestling boots, let's go. And the game goes after Roman Reigns, and he comes out the victor at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Busts Roman Reigns wide open. Gives him color all over that face. Smearing his blood all over the Monday Night Raw table. I'm loving it. The crowd's loving it. We're all screaming. Steve is losing his mind. I have to tell him to calm down.
Yeah, because I was screaming profanities and just not happy with
in
the whole
sheer
thing.
joy. He was just as excited as I was. And it ended with Triple H giving Roman Reigns a pedigree on the steps. And the heel of the company, the COO, standing on the steps, raising the title, being cheered.
Yeah.
The heel being cheered. And that's how Monday Night Raw ended.
It's so bad. I mean, everything that they had done for Roman Reigns a couple months ago is just... It seems completely washed away. People are booing the hell out of him, but they're still going with this match at WrestleMania. Yeah, I didn't care about the end of Raw. I mean, you were super excited.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was fun to watch you react to it, but I didn't leave Raw any more excited.
I don't care. As much as I love Triple H, I don't care about his match at Mania because he's just going to be handing it. He's a placeholder for the title now. He's going to be handing it back to Reigns. And like I've said it before on the podcast, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but why take it away from him? Like, and that's the thing. Like Fastlane, the match was a no DQ match. How come Triple H didn't show up and like hold Reigns down or screw one of them over so that they wouldn't make it to Mania?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. That's why I say, like, it feels like they're not starting off this second chapter of the story where they left off before with them. Because the way they were telling the story, Triple H or someone would have come down to try to screw Reigns.
So if Triple H standing tall, the victor at the end of Monday Night Raw, he won the match between Sheamus and Roman Reigns. They didn't win. The guy wasn't even in the match. Won the match. Raw fades to black. We'll find out what happens. Hopefully they continue the story on SmackDown. Maybe we'll get some more news about Mania and SmackDown. I doubt it.
But it'd be nice.
Maybe we'll get Kevin Owens' story progression, IC story progression.
Hell yeah.
That would be great because SmackDown should be used as another platform for their other titles. We got the World Heavyweight title eating up all the airtime on Raw. Let the airtime be eaten up on SmackDown with the IC and US title.
I'm all for that.
Yes, I'm all for that too. And the last bit of news I need to share with you guys. This is the Memento episode. We're doing everything backwards and up and down and around. NXT. We were waiting for this match. We finally got it. The number one contenders match between Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe. We got it last week at NXT. And the winner is a draw. No, I'm not telling you to pick up a pen or a pencil and a blank paper and start drawing. The match ended in a draw. There was no clear, concise winner. The referees in NXT are losing their minds right now. I think they need to go back to the Performance Center and learn how to become referees again because this is 2 weeks in a row where we got screwy finishes.
Yeah, and I wasn't super bummed out with it, but I wasn't as okay with it as I was with it in the Corbin match.
Because that finish was dope.
Yeah,
like Corbin really tapping out to two finishers was pretty cool.
And the error for judgment there was really cool. But here it was just, we had this. It was a decent match between Joe and Zayn. It wasn't anything spectacular.
No.
But it was good, especially like near the end. It really picked up. And, Zayn hits Joe with a haluva kick and goes for the cover. But the way he goes for the cover, his shoulders are on the ground too. So the ref counts to 3 and then he's just like, I don't know who won.
Yeah, Sami Zayn looked like he was bent over a wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Like, that's the best way to say it. Like, his back was completely arched over Samoa Joe's stomach. So his shoulders were down too.
So yeah, the ref doesn't know who wins. Regal comes out and the ref's like, I don't know who won. And this was where I got a little annoyed just because I was like, well, Regal could just be like, all right, well, restart the match now. Just something like that to keep it going instead of just another week of, we don't know.
Yeah, and that bothered me because, Regal's like, well, I need an answer. I need a winner. I was waiting for him to be like, I can't have this 2 weeks in a row. Just start the match again. And then we get a quick finish. But no, it ended with confusion.
Yeah, and again, not good confusion like the first time. So it seems like we got to wait a little bit longer to find out who the number one contender is.
Well, I think my only assumption as to why they're doing this is the next NXT isn't till Mania weekend. It's in Texas, so they got a while. They can't have Finn Balor versus Joe or Sami Zayn not be on an event like that Takeover.
Yeah,
so they
have a lot of time.
So they have to stretch the story out. And also, Balor's still injured and nursing from that injury. He's still coming back from that injury. So he needs that ankle to heal. So they have to stretch it out a bit. I mean, it is what it is. I don't really agree with it. It's probably the first time in, like, NXT history where I was like, really? Okay. But I really wasn't that. But still, I was nowhere near as upset as, like, Roman Reigns winning at WrestleMania.
Oh, very little things are going to make me as upset as that.
Yeah, very true. I guess I can't compare apples to oranges in that aspect. But the story continues. We'll get another Sami Zayn Samoa Joe match, which is great because we never got a real Kevin Owens Samoa Joe match. And we are hopefully going to get another Finn Balor Samoa Joe match after this whole Sami Zayn Joe thing.
Yeah, hopefully.
And I hope that's where it leads up to, and it'll be great. Maybe we'll get a Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe 2 more times, or maybe 1 more time, or maybe an Iron Man match, or something awesome or spectacular, so we could already say, yep, we saw that in NXT. We saw a great Sami Zayn Samoa Joe match, out of a feud. We'll see what happens. Whoever wins, it doesn't matter. The performers in NXT are top-notch performers. I'm talking about them. I'm not really talking about like an Alex Riley or a Baron Corbin.
No, but we're talking about Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Sami Zayn right now.
Yeah, the main people, the people that do matter.
Involved in this program, or soon-to-be program. But yeah, Martin controversy. We got to wait another week, so we'll see, or even 2 weeks. Who knows when we're gonna get a match or a decision or however they decide to go forward with this.
Well, one finish you don't have to wait for next week is the end of this podcast, because this is it, people. Thank you so much for taking your time and listening to episode 31 of Podcast Championship Wrestling. Remember, we bring you all your weekly wrestling news right here on the air for you. So you don't have to watch these shows. Just listen to us. Close your eyes. Use that imagination of yours. And paint a pretty picture of the world of wrestling as we see it. And we share it with you. So this is Natal saying goodbye for Steve. And remember, we have 2,000 more than you.
The winners of this match, and still PCW Tag Team Champions, the men of 2,000 holds, Natal and Steve.